Hi there, this is Jacob Weeks. You can find me on Twitter at JacobWeeksSHU, recording for the Daily Gooner pod on my thoughts for the season as one of their Patreon members. I've been asked a series of questions by the Daily Gooner pod, and I'm going to give my thoughts and opinions on the season, and particularly on Arteta and where we should go. So the first question I've been asked is, what are my thoughts on the season? Well, like pretty much every Arsenal fan, it's been a poor season. The league table says it all. A disappointing finish in Europe. And there's not really too much else to say. It's been disappointing. The lack of consistency we saw just the other night. Really good performance against Chelsea. We've seen some good performances against good teams. And then some terrible performances against some terrible teams, quite frankly. Obviously, some of it's been compounded by injuries, such as a situation at left back. And I think the way the season's been condensed after lockdown and COVID hasn't helped the situation at all. It's just kind of compounded everything together. Second question I've been asked is my stance on Arteta. It's a much more difficult question to answer. He has 100% made mistakes. No doubt about it. He's made mistakes from some of the team selections he's put out, such as playing Smith Rowe as a false nine, or persisting with certain players who there was no reason to persist with, such as early on in the season, Willian getting game after game after game. It wasn't working. It was clear it wasn't working. Should have changed it much earlier. He's also not helped himself with substitutes. The timing of them leaves it far too late in games that need changing. We need to add injection of quality, injection of pace, injection of something. And we persist. And then it's too late. Or he can't read the game. Ceballos was clearly getting a second yellow card. He left him on, and he got a second yellow card. However, I think that sort of thing should be expected when you hire a manager with inexperience. We knew he was going to make mistakes, and part of the trade-off is you brought in Arteta for who you think he's going to become, not for who he is yet. So, as fans and as a board, it's not really something we shouldn't have expected. And as much as he has made mistakes, we have shown some really good moments, such as beating Chelsea. Such as, obviously, last season, Albert winning the FA Cup. We have played some teams off the park. We have absolutely dominated some games, even some of the ones we lost, such as game against Wolves where David Luiz got sent off and then they scored an absolute screamer of a winner. We have played some quality games and showed some really good moments. However, even in those games where we have done well, we've been let down by individual players. We've been let down by Leonard. We've been let down by Holding. We've been let down by Luiz. We've been let down by Cedric. We've been let down by Xhaka. We've been let down by Ceballos. We've been let down by a lot of players. So my stance on Arteta is we have shown some good enough moments to stick by him. I really think that, we have to back a project right now. If we change him, we get another manager in. He doesn't want any other players we've got, and we still have to spend a lot and put in a new style. And if that doesn't work out, we get a manager with a different style and try again. Let's back a project. Let's build a good squad with this system, and let's reevaluate later on. Player of the season, Saka. Easy choice. Not many players have stood out individually. He has performed brilliantly in 4-5 positions, and he's he's never really let us down. There's no big mistakes from them. Some things haven't come off. He's a younger player. But he's also our best player. He has carried this team time and time again. He's scored, he's assisted, or he's just made things happen by getting on the ball and bringing other people into play. Some memorable mentions to Tierney and Emil Smith-Rowe, but Saka has clearly been our best player. And no surprise that he's involved in my personal goal of the season, which was Saka scoring at the Hawthorns for West Brom away. It was back on January, and we just had that little bit of a good run after beating Chelsea. Smith-Rowe had just come into the team, and it was him who picked it up centrally, who moves it forward centrally into Saka, who pops it forward again into Lacazette, who then pops it wide to Smith-Rowe, who's running into space, and plays it back across goal for a Saka tap-in. It was fluid, quick movement, minimal touches, and they all had purpose and forward direction on them. That is the sort of style that I really want to see more of. As good as a defensive masterclass winner at Chelsea is, we need to see more of this fluid, open, attacking, direct football, which is where we have faltered too many times this season. But he's shown it's in these players and in this system. So I really want to see more of it. More of those goals, and certainly more from Saka. What do we need to progress in the future? A lot. A lot of money and a lot of smart spending. So I'm going to start at the back. We have issues at goalkeeper. Certainly his backup, Matt Ryan's loan coming to an end. Runarsson should never assign him. And then there's Leno. Absolutely brilliant before his injury last season. I was fully backing the decision to keep Leno over Martinez. Doesn't look great in hindsight. But I don't think anyone saw the dip in form coming that Leno has had. He's really made some bad mistakes. He's not looked comfortable in this system. And there's obviously reports he wants to leave. So we might need a complete overhaul at goalkeeper. But at the very least, we're going to need a new backup keeper. And I really think it needs to be someone homegrown. But moving forward into defence, we need a new right back. We have 3 right backs at the club. Who's your first choice? I don't know. Arteta doesn't know. I don't think a lot of fans know. We need a new right back. We need a good quality right back who can get forward, who can deliver a ball, who can overlap the winger and create space for them. None of the ones we have currently really do any of those things. So it's one of probably the most crucial signings we can make. And then there's the midfield. Ceballos is ending his loan deal. Odegaard is ending his loan deal. We don't know whether he's coming back or not. Ceballos is definitely not. Elneny might be gone. So who have we got? Xhaka and Partey. Both good players. I like them. I know they've both made mistakes this season, but they have been very good players. But they're not necessarily the type of players that we need, and they're certainly not enough of the type of players we need. I'd really like us to go in and get a midfielder who can break the lines, whether pass or driving at them, preferably both, and someone who can add goals to midfield. When Elneny's your top scorer from midfield, you know it's an issue. I want to see someone like Aouar. I want to see some solidity in midfield like Basuma. But we certainly need at least 2 midfielders. And then some smart signings for depth, such as a backup left back. Someone like Bertrand, free agent, smart, homegrown, knows the league, not going to cause us too many issues. And the final question, given the overhaul needed, how long do I give Arteta to get the team we need? If he is back financially, he really needs to show quick progress. Not a title challenge, that's unrealistic. But we need to be showing consistency. There was only 1 point in the season we won 3 games in a row. 1 point in the season. That's not good enough for a club the size of Arsenal. So we need to show some consistency. We need to be beating the teams less than us and competing with the teams that are better than us. We can't be scraping back to bottom half of the table, climbing back up the 10th and back down. We need to be fourth to 6th, really, quite consistently throughout the season. If we're not showing any of that by November, I'm not sure we can persist with him. I want him to succeed. I believe he can succeed, but he is on a short leash. Even as one of his biggest backers, he's on a short leash. But whatever manager is here has to be financially back. This squad isn't good enough. Give Arteta the squad he needs.